Humiliated for marrying a poor farmer, the 18-year-old virgin unravels a billionaire's secret. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Beginning. From the very first moment, an eerie silence hung over the old farmhouse, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves, stirred by an unseen breeze. Strange shadows flickered across the cracked walls, as if the house itself held secrets desperate to be uncovered. Every creak of the floorboards echoed like a whispered warning, while outside the distant howl of a lone wolf sent chills down the spine. Something was undeniably wrong, a hidden truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to unravel. The air grew thick with anticipation as unexplained lights danced in the darkness, and the townsfolk's hushed rumors spoke of an ancient curse that no one dared to challenge. Each strange occurrence piled upon the last, weaving a tangled web of mystery that pulled the reader deeper into the story, craving to know what sinister forces were at play. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important alert. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button down below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, drop that powerful like. That helps me so much with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love meeting every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The night wore on, thick with mystery. Emily stood at the window, staring out at the darkened field, her heart pounding. The whispers of the townsfolk echoed in her mind, each one heavier than the last. She shifted her gaze, the moonlight casting strange shadows that danced across the old furniture. What were those secrets buried in the walls of this farmhouse? Her skin prickled with a cold sweat. Just then, a loud crash startled her. It came from the basement, a muffled thud that sent a tremor through her bones. Was there someone down there? Fear twisted in her chest, but curiosity pulled her closer to the door. She hesitated for a moment, breath caught in her throat, then eased the door open. The creaking hinges echoed in the silence. The air in the basement was cool and damp, smelling of earth and decay. She took a step down the rickety stairs, gripping the railing tightly. Each creak sounded like a warning, but she pressed on. The flickering light bulbs struggled to illuminate the space, casting long, dark shadows that seemed to stretch towards her, curling like sinister hands. As she reached the bottom, she caught sight of a figure hunched in the corner. It was her husband, Jack. But something was wrong. He turned suddenly, his eyes wide, reflecting panic. "Emily, get back! You shouldn't be here!" His voice was tight, strained with urgency. "Jack, what's going on?" she asked, her heart racing. The fear in his eyes sent a shiver down her spine. "Just stay away!" He took a step back, and that's when she noticed the glint of something metallic in his hands. Her breath caught. It was an old, rusted knife. "Jack, what are you doing with that? Please, you have to trust me." His voice cracked like glass. "I didn't want you to find out this way, but it's too late now." And then she saw it, a trapdoor in the floor, slightly ajar. The shadows beneath it twisted ominously, as if something wanted to escape. Instinctively, she stepped closer, drawn in by a terrible curiosity. What's down there? Nothing, I promise, he shouted, but his desperation only fueled her anxiety. Suddenly, a low growl emerged from the darkness below. The sound was guttural, primal, sending waves of dread coursing through her body. It was then that she noticed the scars on Jack's arms, the way he trembled. The growling intensified, and with a sudden crash, a creature lurched up from the darkness. It had eyes like burning coals, and its face twisted in anger. Emily screamed, stumbling back into the wall. Jack's expression shifted, a flicker of something dark crossing his face. I didn't want to unleash it. I thought I could control it, but it's too powerful now. Emily's heart raced. Control what? What have you done? Please, just leave. You can't be here, he pleaded, breathing heavily. But everything she thought she knew shattered like glass. Was this the man she had married? The man who promised a simple life away from wealth and struggle? A lump formed in her throat. Suddenly, all the rumors, the whispers, gained shape in her mind. Before she could speak, the creature lunged towards her, and as darkness enveloped the room, Emily felt a cold grip wrap around her heart. Would she escape this nightmare? Or had she wandered into a fate sealed by Jack's secrets? In that moment, she understood. The real curse was just beginning. Emily stumbled backward, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The creature lunged again, its eyes glowing with a fierce hunger. Jack moved to intercept, raising the rusted knife. But something stopped him. A flash of hesitation crossed his face. Then suddenly, everything changed. Wait! A voice boomed from the shadows, deep and commanding. The basement lights flickered violently, illuminating the room in bursts. Out from the darkness stepped a tall figure cloaked in a long black coat, an eerie calmness surrounding him. "Lucian!" Jack uttered, his voice like dry leaves crumbling. "Let her go!" Lucian commanded, his eyes locking onto Emily's, instantly calming her frantic heart. There was an authority about him, a power that seemed to make the creature hesitate. Jack's face twisted with indecision. "You promised. You said it would stay contained." Lucian stepped closer, the shadows swirling around him. "And yet here we are." His gaze shifted to Emily. "You shouldn't have come here, young one. You've stumbled into a secret, far greater than you can comprehend." "What secret?" Emily stammered. Her mind raced. The air felt thick, every breath a struggle. The creature growled, sensing its master's shift in control. Lucian ignored the beast, focusing intently on Emily. "You are part of a lineage that none can escape, a bloodline cursed to protect the very thing you fear." "Cursed?" Emily echoed, her voice shaking. "What do you mean?" Suddenly, the growling intensified, rattling the walls of the basement. The creature jerked forward, its eyes wild, as if sensing the tides were turning. "Enough!" Lucian barked, raising a hand. The creature froze, a deep growl replaced by a haunting silence. "Your husband can't contain it. He never could." Emily's heart sank as the dread seeped deeper. "Jack, what's happening?" "I didn't want you to find out this way," he muttered. "You were supposed to be safe." "Safe from what?" she pressed, feeling the tightness in her chest turn into outright panic. Lucian's countenance softened. The truth is twisted, Emily. Jack was never just a farmer. He was chosen to guard the secret of the beast. Our worlds, your past, it's all entangled. Jack's hands trembled, the rusted knife slipping from his grip and clattering on the floor. It was easier to hide it, Jack admitted, tears glistening in his eyes when he looked at her. To let you believe in a simple life? But it's not just me. It's in our blood. In yours, too. What? No. Emily shook her head, a lump forming painfully in her throat. Lucian stepped forward, the air crackling with energy. The curse was placed generations ago. You must choose. Protect the future, reject the power, or embrace it and succumb to darkness. Before she could grasp his words, the basement trembled, the shadows shifting ominously. The creature let out a deafening roar, breaking the fragile moment. Its gaze turned towards Emily. Hunger and desperation mingling in its fiery eyes. "Run!" Jack shouted, panic spilling from his lips. But Emily stood frozen, caught between two worlds. Her eyes darted between Jack and Lucian, each of them holding a piece of her shattered reality. Who was she really? What had she married into? As the beast lunged forward, the spotlight of truth momentarily illuminated everything. The bond of family, the weight of a legacy, the epiphany of choice. Then everything went dark as the creature pounced, its growl echoing as the world around her spiraled into chaos. A single thought pierced through the haze. Was she doomed to follow in the footsteps of a bloodline steeped in shadows? Or could she carve out a light of her own? And in that terrifying moment, Emily realized she was standing on the threshold of a choice that would forever reshape her destiny. Would she uncover the truth, or would she be consumed by the darkness? Emily stood frozen as the creature lunged, its growl echoing in the cramped basement. Time seemed to stretch, her heart beating a frantic rhythm against her ribcage. The darkness swallowed her, a cold grip of dread wrapping around her throat. Jack's shout rang in her ears, but it faded under the beast's roar. Then a blinding flash lit the room. Emily squinted, the harsh light stinging her eyes. She felt a surge of energy ripple through the air. It crackled like static, tinged with desperation and horror. With a forceful wave of Lucian's hand, the creature was thrown back, crashing against the far wall. Its eyes flashed with fury. But for the moment, it was contained. Jack's face paled, a sheen of sweat forming on his brow. "What did you do?" he gasped, fear creeping into his voice. "Only what's necessary," Lucian replied, his tone steady. "But it appears we are running out of time." Before Emily could grasp what that meant, the basement filled with an ancient buzz. The ground trembled beneath her feet, and the very walls seemed to pulse. "What's happening?" she asked, panic rising in her throat. "The curse is awakening," Lucian shouted over the chaos. "You have to leave, now!" But the instinct to stay rooted held her in place. Something in the air felt so familiar. A thread connected her to the chaos swirling around. Was she part of this? The realization sent chills racing down her spine. Then, without warning, the trap door flew open. A blinding light erupted like a beacon from below, illuminating the space around them. The creature let out a shriek, clawing at the wall in a frenzy, desperate to escape from the encroaching light. But through the chaos, a figure emerged from the light. One that left Emily breathless. It was a woman with long, dark hair flowing like the shadows, eyes bright as the moon. Emily. She stepped forward with grace, almost ethereal. "Who are you?" Emily's voice shook, a mix of fear and confusion coursing through her veins. "I am your mother," the woman said, her voice soft but firm. "I've waited for this moment, to protect you." "What?" Emily scanned the room, disbelief clawing at her insides. You're dead!" Lucian's expression flickered with surprise. "This was unexpected," he muttered, glancing between them. The creature roared again, more furious now, wanting her detained, wanting freedom from its bindings. The light around the woman pulsed again. "A shield against the beast's fury. You must understand, Emily. The darkness you fear runs in your blood. You're not a victim. You are destined for more." "But I don't want this!" Emily cried, her heart pounding violently. "I just... normal?" The woman's eyes softened, a well of pain contained in their depths. "What is normal? The choice was taken from all of us. This curse, it's a legacy, a burden you must bear, or find a way to break it." The weight of her words sank deep. What do I do? Emily felt the ground shake beneath her, as if waiting for her response. "Accept your power or be consumed by it," the woman replied, the glow around her intensifying. Just as Emily puzzled over this revelation, the creature lunged once more, breaking free of its restraints. Jack screamed, but with a flick of her wrist, the woman trapped it. Within the light, a cage of brilliance holding it at bay. "Get out!" Lucian shouted, urgency rushing into his voice as he pushed Emily toward the stairs. "You need to leave now." "Mom, I don't know what to do." Emily felt tears sting her eyes, fear and confusion mixing as the creature struggled against the light. "Trust yourself," the woman said, her voice echoing with strength. "You have more power than you realize. Don't let them dictate your fate." As Emily hesitated, torn between fear and the startling truth unraveling around her, the basement burst into chaos. The creature let out one last deafening roar, and in that instant, a blinding flash erupted, swallowing the space whole. When the light faded, Emily stood at the edge of a new reality, breathless and trembling, heart racing. Had she truly escaped? How could she possibly face this new truth, and the storm it would surely bring? A chilling thought slithered through her mind. Was her mother truly there to help? Or was something darker manipulating her fate from the shadows? Emily stood in a daze, trembling in the aftermath of the blinding light. The basement faded around her, the creature's growls muffled in the distance. Her heart beat wildly, tearing through the haze of confusion and fear. Was she truly safe? Did she really escape? The warm glow of her mother enveloped her, yet uncertainty clung to Emily like fog. "Mom, why now? Why here?" she whispered, desperate for clarity. But the answer she feared lingered in her thoughts. What if the light, the hope, was just an illusion? "I've always been here, Emily," her mother replied softly, the sparkle in her eyes dimming. "But it's time for you to realize your true power." "I don't want power. I just wanted a normal life. The words burst from her mouth, heavy with anguish. But before her mother could respond, a tremor rippled through the basement. Suddenly, lights flickered wildly, casting shadows that twisted and turned. The emergence of a pulsating energy sent a rush of panic into Emily's veins. What was happening now? The trapdoor rattled violently, and in a blink, it tore open wide, sending shards of wood splintering across the room. From the void below, a dark figure erupted. It was unlike anything Emily had ever seen. A vortex of shadows and sharp edges whirled upwards, an ominous force spilling forth. "Emily!" her mother shouted, reaching for her, but the shadows stretched out, wrapping around Emily's wrists like chains. "Fight it!" But Emily stood frozen, fear clawing at her throat. The dark force surged up, all-consuming, and with a bone-chilling snap, it struck her mother aside. She flew back, crashing into the wall, her ethereal glow flickering like a dying star. "Mom!" The raw terror ripped through Emily as she cried out. But then a strange sensation washed over her. A connection formed in the chaos, a pull toward the shadowy figure that mesmerized her. A voice, deep and echoing, sounded in her mind, wrapping around her thoughts. "You belong to me now." "Stop!" she screamed, heart racing. She felt a darkness stir within her, a deep-rooted power awakening, clawing its way to the surface. "No!" her mother cried, scrambling to her feet. "You must resist it!" But it was too late. Emily's instincts surged. A blinding shock coursed through her. She felt the power seize her, racing through, her veins like fire. In that moment, uncertainty transformed into clarity. "What are you?" she gasped, the realization crashing down. "Are you part of me?" "Embrace it, Emily," the shadows whispered, seductive and dark. "You've always belonged to this power. It's your birthright." The basement shook, the walls trembling as Emily fought with this burgeoning truth. "No!" she shouted again, panic lacing her voice. But the grip of darkness gnawed at her, whispering poisoned promises of strength and control. "Enough!" her mother roared, stepping forward with fierce determination. "You are not what they say you are." Yet the shadows continued to envelop her, wrapping tighter as Emily felt the world blur. The connect pulsed between them, and in that moment, everything changed. The light and darkness clashed within her. It was a battle for her soul. Suddenly, clarity sliced through the haze. Emily saw her mother drop to the ground, gasping. "No!" Despair filled her voice. "Not again!" In utter shock, Emily turned to her mother, only to find a face she barely recognized. The woman before her, was she truly her mother? As the shadows twisted around them, fear turned to something deeper within her. What if this bond was a lie? "Emily, please," her mother's voice cracked, desperation seeping through. "You need to choose." But just as an answer coalesced in Emily's mind, the shadows took a final, vengeful shape, revealing a truth that shattered all she had known. As the figure stepped forward, the truth unfurled. A version of Jack materialized from the dark, his face twisted in malicious glee. "So you're the one," he sneered, eyes glowing with a powerful ambition. Welcome to the family business. Everything crashed down like a tidal wave. The shock left Emily breathless, the air thickening in her chest. The man she had known had been nothing more than a facade. "Jack?" Her voice trembled, nowhere to retreat from this horrifying revelation. "What have you done?" As confusion swirled, an urgent spark ignited within her. Was she bound to him after all? A battle between love and betrayal raged as the darkness beckoned her closer, teasing a fate intertwined not just by blood, but choices yet unmade. In that moment, Emily felt the universe shift, trapped between the legacy of shadows and the light she had yet to uncover. Would she embrace the truth of the shadows, or would she carve her destiny in defiance of it all? Her mind raced. It was clear now. This was only the beginning of a war she had no idea was coming. Emily's pulse thundered in her ears, the room swirling with chaos and confusion as Jack's smirk twisted into something sinister. "Welcome to the family business," he said again, laced with a darkness that wrapped around the words like a serpent. Jack. Her throat felt tight, the very name tasting like ash. The man she thought she knew melted into someone sinister. Was this the truth all along? The familiarity clawed at her heart. "What are you saying?" But before he could respond, the shadowy figure surged forward with an electrifying force. It reached toward her, drawing her deeper into its suffocating embrace. The basement pulsed, walls reverberating as if the house itself wanted to scream. Then a crack split the ground between them, a dark fissure gaping wide. "Run!" her mother shouted, urgency spilling from her. But the shadows grew denser, closing in, turning everything into a morass of fear. Suddenly, amidst the uproar came a blinding flash. The brightness enveloped the room, and in its wake, Emily felt the spirits of the house awaken, responding to the darkness threatening to consume her. What was this? An ancient bond still fighting to be free. Then, as if breaking the surface of a long-held breath, a voice broke through the din, a child's voice, echoing with laughter. Out bounded a small figure, shriek of delight piercing through the chaos. It was a girl, no older than 6, with wild curls bouncing playfully. "Emily! Emily!" she cried, hands stretching out toward her, as if she were a beacon in the storm. "Who? What?" Emily gasped, unsure whether to feel longing or terror. The little girl's eyes sparkled with innocence, untouched by the corruption swirling around them. "Hide!" she said, voice high and clear, the pure sound cutting through the shadows. "If they find you, they'll take you too." "Take me?" The words tumbled out, confusion crashing against realization. "Who are you? Why are you here?" The girl grinned, pure and bright. "They don't let me play anymore. Come." She turned, a whirlwind of energy, pulling Emily into the light. Jack's face twisted in surprise. "No! Get back! You don't know what you're doing!" Emily, her mother, urged, reaching toward her, but the shadows began to fracture around them. Before she could decide, the little girl tugged her hand, and with an explosive rush, they broke through the darkness. But then, in an eerie instant, everything shifted. The basement flooded with memories, fragments of laughter, pain, regret. One moment coalesced into another, and Emily saw, just beyond the little girl's light, a flickering image of herself, lost in laughter with Jack beneath the summer sun. "What is this?" The little girl smiled knowingly. "They're keeping you prisoner." Instantly, the entire room darkened, shadows swallowing the brightness. "Prisoner?" Emily echoed, rage boiling within her. Of who? In that split second, the grotesque. Truth loomed larger than life. The shadows shifted and twisted before her, revealing more. Other children, tethered to the darkness, eyes wide with fright. Where were they? Who had taken them? As a chill crept down her spine, the ground began to tremble violently. Jack's face paled, the forced smile slipping into uncertainty as he glanced nervously at Lucian. This wasn't supposed to happen. It can't be happening. Lucian's eyes narrowed, his composure cracking under the sudden weight of the unknown. "The curse! It shouldn't have manifested this way," he hissed, desperation creeping into his voice. Before anyone could react, the little girl turned, eyes ablaze with power. "You're all trapped in their game. You need to wake up." With that command, a powerful wave surged through Emily. It rippled, engulfing everything. The shadows, Jack, her mother. In that instant, Emily understood. The bonds, her past, it was all a complex lie, tangled with the truth she had yet to fight through. Everything felt like it was falling apart. "Wake up," she whispered, uncertainty threading through her thoughts as darkness pulled back, just enough to reveal glimmers of light. Would she truly awaken? Or was this just another layer of manipulation? The girl's laughter echoed as Emily reached toward her, feeling torn between this new revelation and the shadows grappling for control. But one thing was certain. This was not just a battle for her soul. It was a war against lies disguised as family. And for the first time, she was determined to uncover the terrifying truth beyond the shadows. As the darkness coiled back, a question lodged in her heart. Who truly controlled her fate, and what awaited her if she fought back? Emily felt a rush of energy inside her, intertwining with the shadows. The little girl's bright eyes held her gaze, innocent, yet powerful. "You need to wake up." The urgency of those words echoed in her mind as the basement trembled. Jack's face twisted, his earlier confidence collapsing under the mounting chaos. "Stay back. You don't know what you're dealing with." His voice cracked, a tremor creeping into his once dominant presence. But Emily didn't flinch. She felt something inside her wake, a fire building against the encroaching darkness. Had Jack ever been what he claimed? A pit of anger unfurled in her gut. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, the walls shuddering like they might crumble. "Emily, please," her mother cried, scrambling to reach her. "You must resist." And then it happened. The shadows roared as they collapsed inward, a blinding light exploding from the fissure in the ground. "No!" Jack yelled, his voice lost in the chaos. The burst of energy swept through them like a gale, tossing everything into the air. Emily clutched the little girl's hand, and it was like holding a piece of lightning. With a flick of her wrist, a surge of warmth coursed through her, snapping the shadows back momentarily. "We can break free!" she shouted, not just to the girl, but to everyone. In that instant, a deafening silence consumed the chaos. The shadows froze, twisting back in on themselves as the girl smiled brightly. "That's it!" she cheered, her voice ringing with joy. But just then, A deep growl erupted, shattering the stillness like glass. The shadows coiled tightly around Jack's feet, dragging him into the vortex. "Emily!" His face twisted in terror, desperation clawing at his throat. "Help me!" Panic froze her in place. "Jack!" she cried, heart pounding. All she could think about was the life she thought she'd been building, everything crashing down in front of her. As the shadows clawed at Jack, a chilling truth bloomed in Emily's chest. In that moment, clarity washed over her. "Wait!" She turned to the little girl, realization hitting her hard. "What is this?" The girl's eyes shimmered, then hardened. "He's not who you think he is." "What? What do you mean?" Confusion tangled with dread as the whispers of the darkness danced around them. "Jack! He's the one controlling the shadows." The words spilled out like shards of glass. And suddenly everything clicked. "No, he wouldn't!" Emily gasped, disbelief coursing through her veins. "He loves me." "Love?" The girl laughed, a twisted sound that struck through Emily's heart. "Love is just a game to him. He's been using you to harness your power." Emily's heart dropped. "No, that can't be." Each denial felt weaker than the last, like the ground beneath her crumbling. But the truth was now undeniable. As Jack struggled against the shadows, his screams morphed into something darker, something twisted. "Emily, help!" He could barely choke out. But there was no love in his eyes, only fury. In a moment of clarity, the darkness shifted, revealing the grotesque truth. The shadows recoiled, and Jack's form flickered, like a candle fighting against the wind. Then, just like that, with a horrific screech, he shed the illusion. Standing before her now was a ghastly figure, eyes hollow, skin gray and cracked. The monster grinned, a hollow expression that twisted her stomach. "Do you really think I'd let you go?" The realization slammed into her. Her heart raced, tears streaming down her face. "You were never my husband!" A weight of betrayal crashed down like a tidal wave, leaving her gasping for breath. "Goodbye, Emily," the creature hissed, and the shadows surged, ready to swallow her whole. In that moment, she felt a surge of power rising, battling the dark. She clenched her fists, determination boiling beneath the surface. "No, you don't control me!" And just like that, everything shifted. Before the darkness could envelop her, she channeled every ounce of power building within. "This is my choice," she shouted, casting the shadows away as the basement erupted into light. But what awaited her was still shrouded in uncertainty, shadows of monstrous shapes lurking just beyond the brightness. The last obstructing tendril pulled away, revealing what lay behind. It wasn't the end. It was a new beginning, spiraling with questions yet to be answered. Who would she become now that everything had transformed? Would she be lost in the chaos or arise, stronger than ever? The echoes of Jack's laughter hung in the air, twisted and painful, leaving her poised on the brink of a destiny she had yet to comprehend. Emily felt the light pulse through her, warming her skin and setting her heart racing. The shadows squirmed around her, desperate and dark, but she didn't care. She had the power now. She had clarity. Everything that was twisted began to unravel, and for the first time, she felt free. But then a chill swept through the room. The brightness flickered like a failing bulb, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. Jack's form twisted grotesquely, flickering between the man she had loved and the nightmare he had become. "You think you can escape?" he said, voice deep and mocking, as the shadows twisted around him like a shroud. "No more lies," she shouted, taking a step forward, her chin lifted defiantly. It felt good, no, liberating, to stand against the darkness. Her mother smiled, a flicker of pride shining in her eyes. Then everything changed in an instant. A loud crack sounded like thunder, echoing off the basement walls. The air thickened, and from the shadows emerged a blinding torrent of energy, a whirlwind that spun wildly, distorting reality. Emily's heart sank as she felt herself pulled toward the dark force, the power beyond comprehension, twisting her surroundings. "Emily!" her mother cried, reaching out, but the shadows grew stronger, lashing out, pulling her down a dark tunnel that appeared out of nowhere. Emily grasped at the air, fighting against the particles that tore at her. But then time froze. A figure materialized from the chaos, seemingly gliding toward her with an otherworldly grace. It was a man wearing all white, his presence radiating light that pierced the heavy darkness. "Stop!" he commanded, voice smooth like silk, carrying an authority that felt familiar. "Emily, you are my daughter. You must remember." "Remember what?" she whispered, confusion flooding her as uncertainty nagged at her heart. "No, that can't be." The world around her collapsed. Like a house of cards. The man stepped closer, and she felt the power that tethered her to the shadows begin to wane. "You have to listen to me." Shock coursed through her. "What are you saying?" Her breath hitched, the lump in her throat growing. "I am your father." The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. "The curse isn't just ours. It runs through your veins, Emily. It's why they want to control you." Everything swirled in her mind. Images of her past, obscured by the love she thought she knew. Jack, her mother, their life in the farmhouse. But the more she resisted, the stronger the connection pulled her. Jack's face twisted into a mask of anger and desperation. "You can't trust him. He's playing you." The man in white didn't falter, unwavering still against the storm. "Jack is not who he appears to be. He's been using your love as a weapon for his own darkness." "Stop!" she cried, pain tearing through her as loyalties fractured. Everything she knew felt like it was crumbling, like sand slipping through her fingers. In that moment, the shadows roared, angry at the betrayal, ready to claim their own. The air crackled with tension, radiating a chaotic energy that threatened to tear her apart. "Yes!" the girl from before shouted, her innocent voice surprising amidst the chaos. "You can break free! Join your family, Emily!" At that moment, something inside her snapped. A surge of power erupted, rushing through her like a wild river breaking free of its banks. The shadows writhed and twisted, howling in anger as she felt her father's presence merge with hers, clarity flooding her senses. With a primal scream, she unleashed the energy around her. The basement shook violently, light exploding from the fissures in the ground, scattering the shadows. But even as victory surged within her, doubt crept in. Was the man she had always longed for truly her father? Had Jack ever truly loved her at all? As those questions echoed in her mind, A greater force pulled at her soul. What was she becoming in this fight? And amidst the chaos, one thought surfaced, burning hotter than any light. Who could she trust when the truth twisted deeper than she ever imagined? Emily felt the surge of power inside her, a roll of heat radiating out into the damp air. With each heartbeat, she felt the dark corners of her mind lift and grow clearer. Yet Jack loomed beneath the shadow's tether. His eyes flickered with a disquiet she couldn't quite interpret. Was it fear or anticipation? "Emily!" he cried, his voice twisted and frantic. "Don't listen to him! He wants to control you!" But the man in white stepped forward, arms open wide. "Emily, you have the choice. Trust your lineage. You are not merely a victim of the curse." The walls around them began to tremble again, shaking with the weight of their unspoken truths. Emily felt the ground quake beneath her feet. She tightened her grip on the little girl's hand, seeing a flicker of hope reflected in those innocent eyes. "Break free!" the girl urged, laughter spilling from her lips like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "You have the power!" Suddenly, a chilling hiss curled through the room. "Enough games!" The shadow jerked violently, contorting into an unholy shape. As it lunged, Jack's form distorted again, his features stretching grotesquely. With a terrible jolt, the basement shook, and the searing light flickered violently. In that moment, panic gripped Emily's heart. "Is this my father?" she yelled, her words dancing on the edge of desperation. "Should I believe him?" "Emily, don't!" Jack roared, his voice low and unfamiliar, a growl in the depths. "He'll play you like a fool." But just then, a crash erupted from the trapdoor, splintering wood and sending dust spiraling into the air. From the darkness emerged a storm of shadowy figures, eyes gleaming with primal hunger. They swept towards her like a tidal wave, and she felt the pulse of darkness threatening to reclaim her. "Emily, trust," her father began. But the shadows surged, drowning out his voice. And then came a flicker in the chaos. A brilliant white light erupted in a blinding swirl, enveloping everything and filling the space with a rush of warmth. As the shadows writhed and twisted, the figures quickly began to dissolve, almost as if the light were pulling them apart. "Mom!" Emily screamed, searching for her. But the moment shattered like glass. Then, all at once, a truth ricocheted inside her, a shocking realization that knocked the breath from her lungs. Staring at Jack, she began to piece it together. "The shadows," she whispered, confusion pouring out. They're connected to you. You've been controlling everything." Jack's face transformed, and for a brief flicker, she saw his facade fail. "Emily," he rasped, and the desperation twisted into something darker, something unnerving. "Why?" she cried, her heart shattered. "Why would you do this?" But the momentary hesitance was gone, replaced by a chilling, predatory smirk. "It's not just me, Emily," he shot back. "Welcome to your true family. We've been waiting for you." Before she could respond, with a deafening roar, the whirlwind of shadows surged up seething, embracing Jack like a cloak. And with that, a blinding light enveloped him, disintegrating his form and filling the room with a bright flash. "No!" Emily shouted, hands reaching forward. But then everything went still. The light faded, and in the silence, The little girl's laughter turned into haunting whispers. "What just happened?" she murmured, fear creeping into her voice. But before Emily could digest the horror, a ripple passed through her. She could feel it, deep, nagging whispers rising within her. The shadows that had once threatened her began to pull away, revealing a familiar figure behind them. "Emily," it said softly, voice drifting like mist. "You're home now." It was Jack, but not the Jack she knew. This was a version who seemed to breathe. Darkness! A sinister allure wrapped around his very being. Hanging in the air was the unthinkable truth. Jack had never been an innocent farmer. "Welcome back," he sneered, a dark laughter spilling forth, echoing within the walls. "You've always belonged with us." Her throat tightened. "What are you?" For the first time, doubt settled deep within her heart. Had everything been a game? As she searched his eyes, the ghosts of resentment pulsed within her. What had she really become? In that suffocating moment of realization, she understood the truth stretched deeper than she had ever imagined. The real curse lay not just in the shadows, but within her very bloodline. Emily stood her ground, adrenaline coursing through her as Jack transformed before her eyes. The familiar love she once felt twisted into something cold and alien. "You're not him!" she shouted, her voice cracking with pain. "You're just shadows!" The figure laughed, a sound that sent chills down her spine. "But I am what you desire, Emily. Your power is undeniable. You belong with us." "Us?" she echoed, stepping away, confusion swirling in her thoughts. In that moment, her father stood firm beside her, an unwavering presence. "No, Emily, you have a choice." With horror, she watched as Jack's dark aura surrounded him, tightening like a noose. "You can't escape your legacy," he boomed. The shadows, responding to his call. "You're just another puppet in the game." Trembling, Emily felt the warmth of her father's light against her skin, a stark contrast to the anxiety tightening her chest. "Fight back," he urged, his eyes blazing with intensity. A surge of determination filled her. "I will not be a puppet," she cried, raising her arms, channeling the light within her. The force radiated out like a bullet, clashing with the darkness. Jack's figure wavered, desperation flickering in his eyes. "Stop!" he shouted as the light encased him, peeling away the sinister layers he wore. But Emily didn't waver. "You had your chance," she declared, her voice steady, fierce. The shadows hissed as they receded, but her focus remained unyielding. Jack's eyes widened with fear, a reflection of vulnerability she had not expected. "Emily, please!" "No!" she shouted, feeling the strength of generations rise inside her. "You chose darkness." With a final push, the light exploded, encompassing the space. The entire basement shimmered with brilliance, blinding Jack momentarily. Emily stepped forward, reclaiming her past, her power, her family. She could feel her mother's spirit, the warmth guiding her, connecting them all. The shadows fractured, screaming as they were pulled into the light. Jack's form twisted, unraveling like smoke. "You'll regret this!" he howled as he dissipated, leaving only silence. As the chaos slipped away, Emily stood breathless, her heart pounding. Her father reached out, and she took a step forward, colliding into a warm embrace. "You did it," he whispered, his voice laced with pride and love, and tears streamed down her cheeks. "You found your truth." But the basement felt heavy with loss. The echoes of the darkness still lingered, despite the victory. "Was all of it just a game?" she whispered, glancing back at where Jack had vanished. "No, Emily, it was a choice. You chose light." A calming warmth enveloped her. The shadows were gone, but an unsettling breeze swept through the room. Memories spiraled in her mind. Laughter, heartbreak, fear. The adventure she had embarked on had unshackled her spirit. "Now what?" she asked, her heart hopeful yet heavy. The world was hers to reshape, but the price paid felt immense. Her father gently touched her chin, lifting her gaze. "We rebuild together. Your choices redefine your path." As she stood there, amidst the remnants of the past, the glow of possibility ignited within her. The shadows were banished, yet she felt the weight of those lost. But there was no turning back. A ripple of determination surged in her veins. Rebecca, the little girl, appeared beside her, eyes glowing with innocent wisdom. "You found your strength! But remember, you're never truly alone." Emily nodded, heart swelling with newfound purpose. "Together, we can fight for others, for those who are trapped." As she took one last gaze into the remnants of shadows, she turned toward her family, the light guiding her with every step she took. Together, they stepped out of the farmhouse, ready to carve their way into the world anew. And with that, the farmhouse door creaked shut behind them, the past sealed, but whispering stories yet to be told. And this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to catch every twist and turn as we explore the stories that lie ahead. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep us going strong. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this wild conclusion. What do you think lies in Emily's future? Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know how this saga unfolds. If you like stories about farmers, about everyday life on the farm, and want to know what really happens in the daily lives of the biggest farmers in the world, the hidden stories of the richest owners, and the secrets of the farm girls that the media doesn't reveal, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click on the first link in the video comments and get yours now.